I've got to say, Kev, this is the tiredest I've seen you look for a long, long time.
I'm exhausted.
But you've had a weekend in 45-degree heat shooting a wedding in France.
Indeed, yeah. South of France, Saturday, hottest day in France in like 2 million thousand years or something. 45 degrees, hot, bride fainted halfway through the ceremony.
No way, really?
Yeah.
What happened? Well, she fainted, but
yeah, it was just hot. Like, it was proper. I like heat. You know me. I like to lie by a pool with a San Miguel, and it doesn't matter how hot it gets. I like it. Point my belly at the sun, and sometimes has different effect on tidal patterns, but there you go. And but even this, I mean, for me it was hot.
Well, you do like photographing these weddings in exotic locations. You always seem to be somewhere very sunny, but I suppose the good news is that at some stage
Brexit means Brexit,
and you won't be allowed to go anymore.
Yeah,
you'll be scuppered.
I kind of hope that won't happen, but I think it's too late now. Yes, absolutely. So France, South France border. Honestly, and the other thing was when I arrived on Friday afternoon, EasyJet Bristol to Bordeaux.
You had a
perfect flight. Nice and early. And we got there, and then the pilot said, "Appreciate it's really hot." At this point, it was like 42 degrees in the afternoon.
Not in the plane though. They've got air conditioning in the plane.
Yeah, but not when the engines stop. It all goes off, doesn't it?
No, they have the what's it called, the APU, or
that's the
auxiliary power unit.
The smoke that comes out of the
bit of the back is the auxiliary power thing. Yeah, but this still fires up the.
Don't forget, this is EasyJet. They haven't charged us for auxiliary power, so
but the plane has it.
We get there,
whether you like it or not.
We get there. He switches the engines off, and then he says, "There's a little bit of a problem in that we can't disembark because the police want to wait to."
They'd heard you were coming
to help us all off for some reason. He didn't know. The pilot didn't know why. So at this point, there was 2 armed policemen at the bottom of the steps, and then the pilot came on about 20 minutes later, and he said, "There's been another little bit of a problem in that the police can't actually come to the plane right now because the Bordeaux airport has been evacuated because of an incident."
Because of a picnic.
So we were all sat there on this plane for like 2 hours just waiting, and then these police came with their big guns, and at one point I didn't really get worried about it, but at one point I was a little bit nervous when the fuel tanker came along to fill up the plane next to us. And the policeman run over to him, waving his arms, allez, 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 getting this fuel tanker out of the way. And I was thinking, why would he? What's the difficulty of this big tank of fuel and an evacuation?
Or maybe they just knew about your flatulence problem.
Anyway, we got there. It was hot.
Well, you're back in one piece.
The Fujicast.
If not a little bit tired.
Just.
Welcome to episode number 21 this week. Thank you to our friends at Simpler Straps for letting us give away a Simpler camera strap each to our favourite email questions of the week. Great thing about Simpler, SIMPLR, by the way, is that they're proportioned and made for smaller pro-grade cameras, so they're perfect for people like us. Max function, minimal build. I like to think of myself a little bit like that. Sometimes I think it's the other way round, though. There are your questions about anything Fujifilm or photography related, technical, artistic, business and personal, so on. If you go to click at Fuji, or rather if you send an email to click@fujicast.co.uk, we'll get your questions. Our self-indulgent minute is back, and today we're going to hear from Dennis Berti, Illuso. Do you know what Illuso means in Italiano?
No.
It's luxury.
Oh.
He's a luxury man. Although he's a photojournalist, he's not an art, one of those fine art photographers. So Dennis Berti is on
I think I met him. I think I met him.
FDR, I think.
FDF in Argentina.
FDF, rather.
I think so.
Yeah. In Argentina, not the Spanish one.
No, I think in Argentina. I did Seville and I did Buenos Aires, Cordoba.
Right. Very nice. So, he's on the show. We'll get to your questions in a moment. First of all, I want to pass you something across the desk here. Look. Yeah, everybody does unboxings. Now, I've kind of unboxed it because it was addressed to me, but I thought I'd put it all back in its packaging, and there we go.
What is it?
It was a little present that came into the show. The mailbag is being full, and there was a present as well. Look at this. You'll like this.
Steve Brand, Neil and Kevin. I think my communication with you guys over the last few days might be a little over the top. However, I was tinkering with my printing technology after listening to yesterday's podcast, and it occurred to me that it would be a bit of fun creating the enclosed. You can gift them back to listeners if you wish.
No way.
I haven't opened it yet, so I don't know. I'll defer that decision. I know they are not creative masterpieces. That being said, you might like to start creating your own FujiCast merch. Best Steve Brand. Ooh, this is exciting.
Yeah, look.
Oh, look at that.
I thought they were great.
Awesome.
See, usually only YouTubers have stuff like this.
Yeah. No, this is much better than YouTube. This is great.
I mean, you can't obviously see this, dear listener,
No.
but Kevin will
awesome.
describe it for you.
I'll describe it for you. It's a mug, and it says the FujiCast, Kevin Mullins, Neil James. Don't forget the social in social media.
Absolutely. See?
Brilliant. Oh, that's amazing.
So thank you very, very much for that. The other thing we got in the mailbag this week was a letter to the show from HM Revenue and Customs.
Ah, nice. Yeah, okay, we'll put that one over in the corner.
It was an invitation to be involved in the Ipsos Mori research on Brexit. And they like to know how we are both actually preparing ourselves for a no-deal Brexit. Have you got a plan in place?
Yeah, there's a really nice big hole in my garden. I'm just going to jump in it.
Have you not written we're supposed to have written a policy.
Are we?
Yeah. I've written my policy. Would you like to hear my policy?
Yeah.
I'll scream and scream and scream until I'm sick.
There we go. Official.
I do think actually
I've written it down
when
and I'm sending it to them.
when our plane was stuck on the runway, I did think that they'd probably just do that to all British planes at the moment.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, they're great. Those cups, those mugs.
Thank you very much, Steve. That was very, very kind of you for the gift. Very much appreciated.
Don't
Good
forget
idea with
the
them.
social in social media.
Merch,
I like that.
Merch
Yeah.
is a good idea.
Yeah.
Are you launching or am I launching?
I'll go for it.
Go on
So this one is from Ali Stewart from Dundee.
Right.
Good old Ali. Hi Neil and Kevin, great podcast last week. I love how you have such varied chats each week and it is not too gear centred. My question is, and in brackets, I'd like to enter to win a ticket to the FujiX conference in Bath.
You're in.
Okay, you're in the hat. Tickets are selling fast, by the way. Everybody, do not leave it until November because I don't think there will be any left. These days, every photographer is now a brand, and so many photographers now have a very distinctive look to their website and social media presence. But what if they offer more than one style or genre of photography?
Yes.
For instance, I shoot documentary weddings and families, but I also shoot newborns in my studio. I always find it really funny when people say, I shoot newborns.
Yeah. Children who be shot this
comes
week.
across very badly.
And
they have a very different look after they've been shot, definitely. How would you suggest combining more than one genre under one brand to look like you're a master of two or three styles without looking like a jack of all trades? Well, you actually do this somehow.
I do, yeah.
So go for it. You enter.
Well, I have quite a few websites, actually. So here we go. Here come all the URLs. So for my commercial work, I have breathepictures.com. Now, that also covers the additional podcasts that I do. And the reason for that, although it does have a link to weddings, the whole point of that site is that it's for people. So I've possibly got a job with.
Nice.
But now, if I showed them wedding work, can you imagine what they'd say? They'd scream and run for the hills.
Is this audio work with?
No, this is photography work, which is quite interesting because it could be airside.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I'm not sure if I'm even supposed to mention it because the guy that's offering this opportunity actually listens to this podcast. So I hope he doesn't mind. It's not a foregone conclusion by any means. But what it does say is that just like the stuff you will see on there, there's some work with Arsenal, the Emirates.
Yeah.
There's a homeware depot store, an Australian one. But I couldn't if I showed them wedding work.
No.
It just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's the website for wedding photography, neiljames.com. There is some portrait work on there.
So how do you separate? Because at one point you did have quite a thriving little portrait business.
Yeah.
And did you separate that out? I suppose is Ali's question. Did you separate it out from
No. I thought
James.com?
I thought the two worked okay. I think if you're shooting weddings, you can shoot portraits and show the two on there.
Yeah. I think
if I was doing a headshot site, now I would have a separate thing altogether.
Right.
Definitely.
I think what I would do is use your website creatively. So have it, and it's very easy to do on Squarespace and WordPress. I'm not sure what website you use, Ali, but have a for example, actually this is a perfect example. On my website I have my regular website, and I have a menu item that says family, and you click on that and all my family photography stuff is in there, all my day in life stuff, all my everything else is just in there. And so none of that makes it to the homepage, none of that makes it to the primary blog. If I blog something and I mark it as family photography, it only appears in that part of my website. So it's to do with category management on your website, Ali. So you could do it that way. Alternatively, then you then that introduces the threat really of people arriving at your website not seeing the baby pictures because they're only going to see the wedding stuff. So then you have to redirect them to a specific part of your website, or just have two sites.
The jack of all trades thing, I used to definitely advise against having a website that was a jack of all trades, but you'd be amazed the amount of opportunities that do spring up that if you do have a jack of all trades. And I speak with some experience of a friend of mine in this town here who has a jack of all trades website and does very, very well for himself. And it might be something that I think the environment, the business environment, has changed a lot over the last decade. A decade ago, I would not have had a jack of all trades site, but today I might consider it if I was starting afresh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in the embryonic stages of setting up my kind of film commercial website, which will be separate to my main website.
I think that's important. Yeah. And I obviously have my voiceover ones as well. Which, funnily enough, another listener wrote to us this week to... can I just press a button there? Because my screen wants to go off. Don't do that.
Is it an Apple?
No, it's Windows. See, there we go. It's
I do not believe
it.
It
is a Windows machine, this one. It's a Windows monitor. Where were... an Australian guy who said, can you do an advert, an Australian radio for my photography business? I thought, I'm not quite sure how that'll go, but... that came through the voiceover site.
Can you do an advert for his photography business? Not for your photography business?
No.
Right, okay, cool.
Speaking in Australian.
I'm
Australian
radio?
In Australian.
Oh, yeah. That'd be ace. I'd love to listen to that.
Anyway, look, Nick Hart, thank you for your question as well. Chaps, the last two episodes with the theme, the other half, have been such a good listen, so insightful and sincere. I'm enjoying listening to all the episodes, but wanted to thank you and the other halves for these two in particular. I know it's not so much a question, actually, but I had a couple of people that responded, well, more than a couple that responded favourably to that, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Did you enjoy what your wife had to say? Now that we're able to talk about it and we've heard the episodes.
Yeah, and of course it was a couple of weeks ago now for the listeners, but yeah, it was it was really. I was really, really proud of Gemma. Actually, she did really well, and I know she was really nervous and stuff. And Rosa and Albie listened to it and everything, and all her friends listened to it.
Gemma said some rude words.
I know. Yeah.
And the kids were listening.
Yeah, they're kind of used to it.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, and we had a lot of really good feedback about that. Yeah. Really good feedback. I thought it was really interesting experience.
So you weren't surprised by anything, or?
No, not that I can recall. No, I mean, I
like the fact that you always get her a moment of weakness when she's carrying child to ask her these important life things like getting a new job or buying a BMW.
That's right. If you want a really new flashy car, get pregnant and then ask. Yeah. No, actually, I never did get the BMW anyway. So
did you not?
No, we ended up with a Kia.
Well, that's not a bad thing. Right, I'll do the question, though. And Andy Parslow. Hi, chat's been listening to the show since the very first one. Love it. Been a photographer for a long time now. Recently started a documentary wedding and family photography business with another photographer and long-time friend. As a newcomer to the industry, I find the advice you guys give valuable. So Neil mentioned last week about approaching venues to get yourself out there at the beginning, and was wondering how that process works and whether it's a good way of getting bookings. It's something I've thought about doing, but didn't know, one, how to go about it, or two, if it's something that's frowned upon. So I don't think it's frowned upon. I don't know why it would be frowned upon. I think if you're suggesting that venues would think, oh, you're a newbie, why are you approaching us? Maybe there are some less charitable planners or coordinators at venues that might feel like that. But I don't know. I think it's all about how much you're prepared to offer them in return for what they offer you. I.e., if there's a guy that's just muscled into a local venue I work a lot at, and he does all the portraits for all the staff. He does their family portraits. He goes up there, does estate photography all the time, and undoubtedly that's going to help him, isn't it, when it comes to planners showing people around coordinators showing people around their venue.
Yeah, it is going to help him, but at the same time, is that return on investment worthwhile?
Well, that was the next bit I was going to come to. That seems to me like an awful lot of work.
Yeah.
If you're doing, there's a lot of staff there. If you're prepared to do all their portraits and turn up and do all the events as well and all that kind of stuff
for a couple of weddings.
Yeah, you want to be hoping that you're going to get a dozen or half a dozen to a dozen weddings, maybe more.
Yeah.
So it's a balance thing, isn't it?
It is a balance thing, absolutely. But you're right. You hit the nail on the head then when you said, it depends what you give them in return, because there's no venue is just going to accept an email and think, oh yeah, I've never heard of this guy before, we'll put him on our preferred supplier list. The chances are you probably will have needed to have shot there, or you need to, even if you haven't shot there or anything, just go and meet them, just go and arrange an appointment, just say I'm a local photographer, can I come and have a chat, and they'll understand why you want to come. But then you can't just kind of what's the word? Whiteboard? No, not whiteboard. I'm still tired. What is it when you just you fly pitching, or no, when you just
throw enough mud at the wall, some will stick? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's it. Whiteboarding, same thing.
Whiteboarding. I mean, 15 years ago, to be honest, Andy, when I first started approaching venues, and it fueled my business right off the bat. It was a very different industry. There were not so many wedding photographers around. There certainly weren't many approaching venues, and it's different now. Everybody, it seems, is approaching venues, and that is, a route to them, obviously their marketing route to getting business.
And a lot of the venues charge, which I think is fair enough.
It's commission now.
I have a couple of venues that I wouldn't say I work with them very often, but I'm on their books. And they approached me rather than I approached them. But
it's the right way around.
That's pretty good. But it's based on if we send you a lead and they book, you will give us, I don't know what it was, like 10% or something of the booking fee. I think that's fair enough, frankly, because
you work with planners as well, don't you?
I do, but
is that a good route?
I don't have any financial agreements with the planners, because the planners will basically make their commission off the couple.
Yeah.
So they will, they might have a photographer's finding fee or something like that as part of their package. And so I don't have any formal relationships with planners. I don't. But
do you write to them? Have you ever written to them?
No.
Would that be another route for Andy?
Possibly,
or is that?
Yeah, I mean, again, with planners, there is a lot of them, and a lot of them. It's a bit like the photographers themselves. There's a lot of planners at the low end of the market, and a lot at the high end of the market, and a lot in the middle. And they will all have a bucket load of emails and a bucket load of business to get through and everything. And you got. I suppose the thing to do is try not to make it appear like spam.
Yeah.
I mean, how many emails today have you had that you just deleted and perhaps just by reading the title, because you just thought, no, I'm not interested. I've had loads. Yeah. Just delete them. And so if you can,
You're such
make
a popular man.
Honestly, the amount of spam is just ridiculous. So you just get rid of it all, and that's what they would do, I suppose.
So well, I think, Andy, it's a good idea, but I think Kevin is correct in the way you approach him is the way that is something you need to think a lot about. Go present a portfolio, and in much the same way if you were a fashion photographer talking to buyers of fashion work. But it's harder than it used to be. Definitely harder than it used to be. That doesn't mean don't do it, because I still do it. But I always send I always try and get a meeting for a portfolio. Don't send one. Sorry, I didn't mean that. To take a portfolio along.
Okay, Simon Pickard. By the way, we now have a Facebook group.
Oh yeah.
We're both now anxiously looking at the screen because neither of us can remember.
I'm looking at the dark screen that's now
we have a Facebook group.
Windows one.
I'm sure that if you just search for the FujiCast, 2 words.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, do it. Facebook, the FujiCast. I'm not going to give a URL or anything, but I will put the link on the FujiCast website.
Yep.
And it's not going to be. It's basically a place for us and you to chill out, hang out, and maybe ask questions. We'll talk about we'll organise the Brighton thing everything there, and just stuff. We have no real ambition for it. Just
it's a kind of a label or medal for because there's only two members. It's you and me at the moment. So,
Absolutely.
So we're waiting. Who's going to be the third? Who's going to be the first one?
Okay, first person in on Monday gets a surprise.
We'll send Jem around. Right,
we'll think of something.
Your
okay,
question.
so Simon, I deviated. Hello, Neil and Kevin. I have a question about SD cards from episode 11 when Kevin describes his workflow after finishing a wedding shoot. The SD cards with the RAW and RAW files, he safely deposits in the pouch on his belt, etc. And the next day in the studio, he backs the files up to 3 different sources. Kevin, do you then return those SD cards to the cameras? And if so, do you reformat them in camera before the next shoot? From my reading of the XE3 handbook, that seems to be a Fujifilm recommendation. Looking forward to the next podcast. Thanks, Simon. Okay, well, there's two strands to this question. I'll answer it my way, and then maybe Neil will have a different opinion. Always format your cards in the camera you're going to use them, always. So, and that actually is true even if you're using XT2 and X Pro 2, for example. So same sensor, same gubbin, same fairies inside pedaling the engines.
But if you've got 2 X Pro 2s, it doesn't matter which one of the two you do them in, does it?
Shouldn't do, but I always make sure I do it. Yeah,
right, okay.
just as a double check.
I've never done that.
But actually, I have actually used cards that I formatted in X Pro 2 in my XT2 as well. So I'm absolutely sure it would be fine, but just to be on the safe side.
What I meant was if you've got two XT3 bodies, does it matter which one of the XT3 bodies you format the cards in? Shouldn't it? Surely not.
It shouldn't. No, it shouldn't.
But it's just if you're changing flavours.
Yeah, it shouldn't. But so the other part of that question was, do I then reformat the cards and use them at the next wedding? And the answer is no. So those cards go in a little pot in my in a safe in my office, right. And those cards are not used again until that wedding is fully edited.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. How many cards do you have?
10,000. No, I do have a lot.
God, SD cards are cheaper than CF.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I shoot entire weddings now on 32 gig cards. I don't need to change them that often. I mean, how many? You
shoot RAW. So what are you changing? 3 times per gig?
No, I don't think. Right. I mean, this French wedding I shot on the weekend, it was 15 hours I was there, remember? I lost about 15 stone as well.
It's half the man he was last time.
I actually shot that. I changed cards once, but only in one camera.
Right.
So I went through 2 sets.
Why do you stop at 32 gig? Some people feel a bit awkward about larger card sizes.
No. So the reason I was just going to say that the reason why I didn't change in the other one was I was using 64 gig cards in that one. Okay. So, and I also have 128 gig cards. So if I think it's going to be a ridiculously big wedding, then I can do that. But ultimately, what I have in my backup card, so I have 2 card slots in the cameras. The first card slot I'll either use 32 or 64, potentially 128, but I also have 256 gig cards, which are the backup cards. Right. So those never get changed, and I can get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weddings on there, and they never come out of the camera. Yeah. So the ones that I use, the raw slots, if you like, they're the ones that then get put in the pot and kept until the wedding's done. So, unless you're a ridiculous spray and prayer, 20,000 shots per wedding, you can get away with a few cards, and I think that's safe.
Yeah. I work a different way to that, but that's just me. I like that way that I work in a similar way, funnily enough, to who was it? It was Alistair Freeman who mentioned that often he downloads during the meal for a safety backup, and which I do. Yeah.
No, I don't do that. But
that's if I'm not photographing in the kitchens.
I always worry that if I take it out, I'm going to drop it down a drain or something.
Right. Yeah. Well, there is that. Luke Warwick. Hi, gents. Let me start by saying that I love the podcast. Find it really helpful. It's a great morale boost. Now that soppy stuff's done, let's ask a few questions. 1. After last Saturday's 30... Oh, this is playing right into your area of expertise now. After last Saturday's 30-plus degrees, most photographers needing a shower halfway through the day.
30 degrees? That was chilly.
Luxury. What do you wear? And on particularly hot days, what do you wear to keep cool? Have you ever worn shorts to an event that you're photographing? I mean, he's specifically talking about a wedding, but it could be any other event, portraits, whatever. Probably wouldn't wear shorts. No, I do. Actually, a lot of the sporting guys do wear shorts, don't they? Yeah. But to a wedding,
No. I wouldn't. I know people that do. And interestingly, funny enough, I did have this conversation with a wedding planner on the weekend and in France, and she was saying that there's this one guy out there that turns up in what can only be described as Speedos.
Right.
A wedding photographer. But I suppose he keeps cool. But no, not me. I mean,
Does he look good? Does anybody look good? Speedos?
I'm definitely trousers and white shirt. So on Saturday, because I knew it was going to be ridiculously hot, I took 3 shirts with me and I changed them. I did change them, which helps a lot. But I mean, this was extreme. People in their jackets, I could have wrung water out of the bottom of people's waistcoats. It was just really hot. So on your average kind of 30-degree wedding, 25-degree British wedding, yeah, I mean, you can get loose, coolish trousers and a shirt. I don't wear a jacket or a tie or anything in that weather.
The old MC Hammer trousers.
That's it, yeah.
That'd be good, wouldn't they? Number 2, any advice when it comes to insurance policies? Things to consider when taking out policies such as indemnity, public liability. Also, what do you do about insurance cover should you ever become too ill to work? I like the question. I like the answer.
Come on, Grandad, get on with it. Put your teeth in.
I like the answer that you gave a couple of weeks ago, where you asked the clients back, well, what happens if you get ill?
Yeah.
Although that was good.
I did that last week to an inquiry. I asked the same thing. She didn't book. didn't work.
Doesn't always work.
No.
Well, yeah, I think indemnity and public liability, especially in this litigious age we're now in, is probably a good thing. And of course, some venues, and going back to Andy's question of a moment ago, will not accept you as a supplier unless you have public liability and all those sort of things. 5 million tends to be the range. There is one venue I know of that
10
that want 10.
Yeah. Honestly, my honest to God attitude about this is, if you are charging money for a wedding as a photographer, and if you do not have full insurance, then you have no place in the industry. Get yourself out. Do not cheat. Do not cheat the industry. Do not cheat your clients. Do not cheat anything else. If you do not have backup equipment and insurance, and you are photographing weddings, you need to take a long, hard look at yourself.
And tax, by the way.
Yeah, and
I know
tax.
this question wasn't about tax.
No.
But
and I'm not implying, of course, that he's saying that whatsoever.
No.
Because we don't have any ideas. But I know I speak to people who are full-time wedding photographers, and they see insurance as just an extra thing they don't need to pay for.
Yeah.
And that just makes me want to, just turn around and walk away from them. I think that's unethical, unbusinesslike, dangerous, wrong, and cheating.
And also, what do you do about insurance cover should you become too ill to work? So, yeah, I have a policy in place that kicks in 3 months, I think, after I've become incapacitated.
I have
3 months grace period.
This is a lovely conversation, isn't it? I have life insurance and critical illness cover and stuff like that, but I don't have lack of earnings cover. I used to have that when I had a regular income. So now, in the unfortunate situation that we hope we never get to, if I'm too ill to work, then after I think whatever period of time, then we've got enough in the insurance to pay off the mortgage and
well,
that
hopefully,
kind of stuff.
Kev, it's not going to come to that.
No,
I know at one stage you were worth a fortune. I think if Gemma would have had you,
worth a fortune,
pushed you out of a plane or something.
No, yeah.
Oh, Kev, sorry, I slipped.
Yeah, there he goes. No, I certainly used to.
You've taken yourself off that now.
I've already. I had a first wife, remember, and things went away.
All right, so let's move on swiftly from that one.
Absolutely.
Dennis Bertie at Illuso. I spoke. No, you've met with Dennis. I think you worked at FDF.
Yeah, I'm sure that
I love those conferences. By the way, you were lucky enough to do the Argentinian one.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, a really, really good conference. If you are in South America or in Spain and you want to go to a Spanish-speaking photography conference, then FDF is your friend. Foro do Fotógrafo. photography. I'm fairly sure that I met Dennis at one of these, either in Seville or in Cordoba.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do know his work. Very nice guy.
His work is superb. You have to go and check his website as well. We will, of course, put links to that. This week, it is about weddings, yes, but equally, Dennis is very quick to point out that actually he's a photographer of life and not of weddings. And I like his.
That's nice.
I like his approach. And so this week I took some time out and had a chat with Dennis, who is an Italian living in Mexico. So it's always a joy, as you know. My heart lifts a bit when we manage to talk to people around the world, around the globe. And so this is Dennis Berti. Dennis, thank you very, very much for making time to talk to us on the podcast. We very much appreciate it. A lot of credence is placed upon having a strong website, and obviously the imagery has to talk and even shout about you. But your design, your website design, is so different to a lot of sites I see out there. This is obviously not a template site. It translates perfectly on the phone as well. It even nudges me to rotate the screen. Tell me about the site and why you designed it the way you did.
I work with a website with several collaborators around the world who helped me to create the design, who helped me to develop the website with the features that I wanted. And I want to create a personal space for me where I can host all my photos, my philosophy, my voice, and everything has the same homogenic sentence, message that is honest visual storytelling. So I was thinking, after 40 years living in this world, which kind of photographer I am, what I want to achieve, what my goals are. So after a very long time of introspection, I decided it was good to start again with a new chapter of my life and say, okay, now let's go serious, because until a few years ago I was just a destination wedding photographer, but now I don't identify myself as a wedding photographer. I identify myself as storytelling. I do wedding photography too, but it's just another thing that I do. So for me, my way to work is exactly the same if I'm shooting a making of building let's say a hotel, or a family like a day in a life with a family, or a wedding or an event. I shoot exactly in the same way. So why I have to separate weddings from something else if my philosophy and my voice say that I work in the same way? Does it make sense?
No, it does. Would you say you're primarily a wedding photographer, or what's the kind of percentages of the work you? I know you don't like to label yourself as a wedding photographer,
Exactly.
But in terms of the events and your life experiences and where you spend most of your time as a photographer, where would that be?
Well, maybe it could be the 60-70% of wedding, okay? Because sometimes I receive inquiries or mail about some project, some editorial work for some magazine. So people like my way to tell the story, my unique point of view. So I'm open to every suggestions and every project I can work with. So most is wedding, also because where I'm based in Mexico, there are a lot of weddings here to shoot. So primarily I shoot wedding, but I shoot much more things. Sometimes things that I don't share because are more confidential, collaboration, so I can share some photos. So most of the time I just shoot weddings, and the rest is magic or will be unknown for people.
I noticed, by the way, you're not just Dennis Berti, you're Dennis Berti di Lusso, which means luxury,
Dennis
doesn't
Berti
it?
di Lusso.
Di Lusso, luxury, which is not always a word associated with photojournalism, isn't it? Luxury to me is not necessarily a word I see as honesty and integrity. I don't know why, but I just don't. But you do, don't you?
Yeah, because di Lusso is my philosophy of life since when I was young. When I was a kid, I was saying di Lusso. It's my own town in Tuscany. Di Lusso means it's the same as every word in Italian, Di Lusso, but in Tuscany, where I live, it's a much more like okay, it's fine, everything's gonna be good. Oh yeah, it's just like a modism. It's modest to say things. So that's why I always say Di Lusso. I always said Di Lusso entire my life. So many people know me as Di Lusso guy. So
yeah, I'm right. I'm going to use that Di Lusso. I'm not sure it works with a British man.
Di Lusso. I guess not, but it could be interesting to use it.
Your about page is like an art installation, Dennis. Above being one of those pages where you read the word awesome over and over again, there are just 8 words on the front of your about page. A music-dependent life form, washed-up sportsman. So we're going to try and expand on that. So you're an Italian who moved to Mexico.
Correct.
And I think that was for weddings, wasn't it? Because after you arrived, I read you shot something like 500 weddings in 5 years. I mean, what did your fellow Mexican wedding photographers make of the Italian who arrived and pretty much ravaged their client list?
Yeah, it's much more complicated. Maybe I need a bottle of tequila to tell the whole story, but more or less it's something like when I was working on the cruise ship when I was young, and I discovered Mexico later in 2005. I fell in love with the place, with people, and I started to shoot many weddings, which I still love, but the approach was completely different. But let's say that for me was necessary to shoot many weddings to understand who I really am, what I like to shoot, what I don't want that the people ask me to for. So let's say that when I arrived in Mexico, I arrived with a perspective to just having a good time and shoot many weddings as possible. And now I'm completely opposite. Now I don't shoot many weddings. I shoot very few weddings, but with a very particular approach, because I want to be sure that people understood what they saw, so they can connect more with me. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. Not many of my peers in the business I know of started on the cruise ships, and you did. And that's a hard way to make a living, isn't it? I mean, it's not all Caribbean cruises and drink as many rum punches as the bartender will serve you, is it? It's hard graft. Do you think, how important was that graft to you being a photographer?
I think it was, I don't say extremely important, but for sure is a part of my cultural baggage for photography. I mean, I was shooting maybe in the 2001, just a few numbers. During the gala night, I was shooting like 7-8 films, roll films by 36 exposure each one, in about 30 minutes, taking portraits at the restaurant, the gala night, the people walking in the aisle, in the cruise ship. So I was taking many photos, and this gave me a very quick reaction for the shooting. I mean, I'm very good composing. Photography on the cruise ship is not a very artistic photography. It's exactly the same. I remember when the guys from the lab, the guys was developing all the photos on the laboratory of the cruise ship. He asked me, "Please, Dennis, can you do this for the exposure in the restaurant? Use maybe 160 of a second, 5.6 aperture, and the flash that was a big Metz external flash with a huge 3 kilos batteries." Okay.
Yeah. I saw a picture of you carrying one of those.
On the terrace. On the roof.
Yeah.
And all the exposure was exactly the same for everything. After, let's say, 1 million of photos on the cruise ship, I can say that I'm very fast now.
Has it also helped you with the fact that you don't overshoot? Has that changed the way that you now work in a digital format?
I can say not, because in the digital world you have to take care more about button functions, white balance, sharpening, and all the stuff like this, than in the film age you was not applying or use it. But I think the process is exactly the same. It's always about the great photo, composition, light and moment, and it's the same that I'm doing right now with the film or digital camera, with the Leica or whatever.
I'm interested in I'm going to go back to the honest storytelling label that you've promoted. I'm wondering whether it's because you feel a fair degree of storytelling, and we talk about this on the podcast actually, is somewhat contrived. Do you allow yourself to affect the events that you shoot at all, or is that absolutely sacrosanct? You will not touch it in any way. You will just photograph what you see.
Exactly. Exactly as you say. I do not interfere. I don't want to change. I don't want to make the plan. I don't want to change the timeline. I don't move windows. I don't change like a place of stuff. I don't do absolutely nothing. It's my strong ethic for my work that is based on the photojournalism. So I can say that this photo is 100% honest, authentic, real, because I didn't change nothing for happening.
And clients are coming to you for that, aren't they? They're not coming to you and then changing the script after they've hired you.
Absolutely not. Most of the, I don't say 100% because there are always little surprises or some details to manage later during the emails. But usually the people that hire me, they understand my way to work and they give me complete freedom.
You say you're this kind of ninja photographer now, which for some people, Dennis, might raise an eyebrow at least. Is the ninja thing? How important is the ninja thing to you? Staying low, staying invisible, staying out people's way.
I think it's not just important; it's fundamental because it's my way to work during all day long. So I try always to be invisible. I always to be discreet. I don't want to talk so much with people. My clients know that when it's the time to talk, when the time is to laugh, I always ready there to talk and to laugh with them. But at the moment that we start to shoot, they know that we don't interact anymore. So let's say during the getting ready, when I start, I don't talk anymore, maybe until the night if I don't have to ask something very important.
Wow.
Just a little extreme, but it's like this, yes. Because also I don't shoot family photos.
What happens when people say, "Oh, come on, Dennis, let's have a couple of family photos at least"? Do you refuse?
Let's say that so far I give another option for the bride and groom to have another photographer shooting those kind of stuff. Because let's say that my style is to document and tell the story of the wedding day. Okay, so the family photos most of the time are more important for the family members than for the bride and groom. They want this picture because the family is asking, not because they think are important. And if they hire me, it's because the style. If I'm a Ferrari and I want to be free to run everywhere, I can't drive in the traffic in the downtown in the Madison Square Garden with a Ferrari. I can't. I need another car. Does it make sense? So if you are shooting with Dennis all day long, okay, with a invisible and candid and documentary approach for photos, when I take family photo, it look like I don't do it this one anymore. It's like I switch. I have to take family photos. So why spend those time taking family photo when thousands of moments are happening around me, especially during the cocktail hour when people are free, are drinking and talking, something happens. So I don't want to lose those time. That's why if for the couple it's very important and mandatory to have family photos, I recommend to hire another photographer with me that he's helped me to shoot those kind of photos.
For folk out there listening now who are putting together portfolios for their online presence, it's interesting to me, Dennis, that you choose to show people who aren't always necessarily looking their most engaged or, let's say, beautiful. And don't get me wrong, the shots have an integrity and beauty. But, for example, I'm just going to run through a couple of shots that I was looking at over the last couple of weeks on the site. The family eating in front of the Mexican museum, musicians look
mariachi.
Yeah, they look tired and they look elsewhere and they don't look interested. But it's a wonderful photo because there's real humour in it, which I think there's the guy putting the eye drops in. I mean, the little page boy picking his nose, and then there's the flower girl, very next frame, doing the same. But this time she's bawling her eyes out. I mean, how important is it to show that side of the day when appealing to clients? Because a lot of the time people are looking at weddings and they're looking for the dream, aren't they? And they're thinking that it's an aspirational portfolio that they're looking at. But yours isn't always aspirational. Yours is very honest and shows people sometimes in a light they might not necessarily enjoy.
Yes, I understand your point, but also there is so much of standalone stereotype of photo in wedding photography. So people are expecting the penguin pose at the sunset with a silhouette, or are expecting maybe the family photos, or many photos that everyone we know. But the moments that are happening around are so many. So I want to give it like a good mix of everything that's happening on the wedding days. So not just the love, so not just the beauty, the landscape, the details, also the humor, the feelings, the crazy party at night. If someone is falling on the sand, for example, on the beach wedding, I don't help this person. I shoot a picture in front of him, 2 GB of photos. You know what I mean? So I want to be sure that I capture everything. And this is 360 degrees scenarios of panorama about the wedding, about the couple, about their story. So it's not just about the beauty and the love. Of course, they will expect some photo where they look good together. Of course, but they will also get some photo where they will laugh a lot for something that's happening around them.
What drives Dennis Berti? What is your, when you get up in the morning, what drives you? What makes you get out there and photograph? What's that passion for life?
Passion for life is music, happiness, spending time with my wife, enjoy life, and wherever I can, shoot. Really, Neil, I'm very, very easy guy, very easygoing. I don't have so much like inspiration. I want to be one of the best here. I want to achieve this with my work. I want just live happy. This is my only priority. So that's why I don't want to work so much with photography. You know what I mean? I shoot, I work, I pass so much time studying, editing, do whatever I need to do, but I don't want to work 12 hours for a day, because I want to live the life first and enjoy my photography. If photography in the future, for example, become just a little different, just a little more struggle or complicated, I think I will think to arrange a different approach for photography for my work in the future, because I want to just live with photography as a passion. If it become a work like a factory or like a huge number of weddings, I can't, because I want to be sure that my photography, is just art, it's just passion. Every time that I shoot a wedding, I really enjoy it. And when will be the time that I will enjoy it anymore, maybe we will come back and hobby, and maybe I will shoot 2 weddings for a year. Yes, because here in the place that I live, Cabo San Lucas or Los Cabos, there are many weddings, and it is a very known and famous destination, a city for weddings for most American people and also Mexican. I can start to have a relationship with hotel and shooting 100 weddings per year, but I don't want to do that. I prefer to shoot less weddings, but being sure that everyone that hire me, they are 100% happy with what they get. And me, first of all, I'm 100% happy with what I want. Because to be honest with you, saying that some type of photography, sometimes of photo I don't shoot on the wedding day, close me a few doors, okay? But this is not a problem for me, because I want to do everything that I can to be sure that I can guarantee my way to work. Those are my rules, my way to shoot, and if the people understand, both are happy. If they understand, I explain. If they don't, after explanation they don't understand or they don't want, perfect, I can suggest another photographer. But I want to be sure that I'm completely free to be creative, to do whatever I want. And when I can be free in the future, if I will not be free in the future for photography, is when maybe something will change. So far, I'm so happy.
Well, Mexico's gain seems to be Europe's loss. Are you ever going to come back to Italy?
So far, I can say not. I'm so happy to live here in Mexico. I'm so happy to be Italian too, because I'm a good mix now. But if you say, where is my house now? Is in Mexico. Is here in my home. So let's say I have the good side of both continents, okay? But I'm much more relaxed and quiet than I was 20 years ago when I was living in Italy. So much anxiety.
I see that. We haven't really mentioned some of the amazing other things on the website, and I'd like people to go and look at your website. for the abstract tab and all those other parts of a photographer's life that are equally as important as sometimes when you're able to make money out of it. Because I think the abstract work, by the way, Dennis, is super.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. And I hope one day to come across and second shoot a wedding for you.
Wherever you want. Just give me a few hours of advance of time so I can pick up at the airport, come with a battery charge, and then we go.
That's it. And then one day you can come over here and shoot the wedding in a wet day in a Swindon registry office with no windows, rain, and 25 people drinking cups of tea.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you to Dennis Bertie for his time this week on the podcast, and please go check out his website. I'm sure you're going to after having heard him speak. It's amazing when people like Dennis speak. You just want to listen to for hours. It's like Facundo, you know.
Oh no, yeah.
And often they start their sentences, or whenever I interview somebody whose I suppose native tongue is not English, they say, you have to forgive me, my English is not great, and you think it's perfect, actually.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And it's more interesting than listening to Bob from Bradford. No offence to anybody from Bradford.
Or called Bob.
Or called Bob.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. Back into... next week on the show, we're going to start doing interviews with those that will be speaking at the X Weddings Conference. So from next week, we thought it would be a treat to hear some of those speaking at the X Weddings Conference, and within that, travel photographers, filmmakers who use the Fuji gear. So fantastic! Looking forward to that. I think it's your turn for a question.
Okay, I have a question from Timothy Binder. I can never remember. You did tell us once, Tim, how to pronounce your surname. And I also do appreciate I still have an outstanding email from you. I realise I did say that in episode 8.
As he was 6 and 5 and 4.
I will get to it.
I've done mine.
It's this is the worst time of the year for anything other than just editing and weddings and workshops. Anyway, quite an interesting question from Tim, actually. Among the gadgets that you own, is there something you wish you had never bought?
Oh, God, loads.
Yeah, although I'm struggling to think of one immediately off the top of my head that's not a person.
I think there's one that might be hanging up close to you. It's the colour meter, Sekonic colour meter, which in theory is a really great idea. It cost about £1,000. I've used it twice.
What am I looking at? This gritty thing?
No, it's a meter which you can use to measure Kelvin temperatures.
Oh, this thing.
Yeah. Well, there it is. It's there.
It's a light meter.
It's a light meter, it measures Kelvin values as well, so that you can really properly set up your video shoots. It's really good.
Doesn't look like it's had much use.
No.
I'm just going to see if there's a battery in it.
Yeah, there is a battery in it. If you turn it on, it'll work.
No, I'm not going to turn it on because light meters scare me. But it's so this was £1,000.
Close on, yeah. That was a few years ago.
But you use it though, so that doesn't qualify for the question.
Well, I've only used it once or twice.
Is there something you wish you hadn't bought? Okay. Fair enough. You wish you hadn't bought that.
Loosely. I mean, that's a lot of money for not a lot of use.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. Have you?
Yes, I have my answer. I bought a pair of Elinchrom. Are they called rangefinders or something? Rangefinder lights.
You're talking about the battery powered ones.
Yeah, they're meant to be able to work in like bright sunshine and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're called.
Very
are
good.
they called range?
I don't know what they're called. Somebody will tell us.
Of course. Well, yeah, but the fact that I don't know what they're called probably.
Alan Gump will tell us. He'll give us the specs and everything.
Yes, so but in fairness, I did have good intentions to use it, and they were very good. I'm not saying I don't, don't wish I didn't buy them. I didn't. I don't. I'm not. Put my teeth in there. Yeah. I'm not saying I wish I hadn't bought them because they're not very good. Because on the few occasions I did use them, they were excellent. But I don't use them very often, and they were about £2,000. Two of them, and it comes in a big box. And
well, I'd like to borrow them.
And you know what I use them for now?
What?
I use the...
Don't say you put your washing on them.
No. I use them. I have all my wedding albums stacked on top of the box in my old albums in my studio, in my spare room in my studio. So it's good for that because it means I don't have to bend down so much to get to the albums. Yeah, so that's it, Tim. Let us know. Hey, in the Facebook group.
I was just
let
about
us
to
know.
say, Tim has just entered the first official chat thing. Go pop into that Facebook group and tell us the stuff that you've bought that you wish you hadn't.
Yeah, keep it clean.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be photographic. Well, no, it should be.
Good question, Tim. Well
Thanks,
done.
Tim. Marius Peter. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Neil. Why, when I see other people's black and white pictures, do they look great? And when I do mine, well, I don't like them at all. do you need to have an eye for that sort of thing? Or is it just a matter of interpretation, appreciation of your own work? Oh, dear. It's Marius, not Marcus. Did I say Marcus? Marius. Marius, you're speaking my language, I think, there. I don't know. I mean, it is all down to interpretation, and I think with black and white work, it's very much down to subjectivity as well. Because some people like the very washed black and white. The crushed blacks. That's very popular at the moment.
That's me.
I personally like really deep, contrasty. I mean, somebody said to me recently on a YouTube film, I can't see the blacks. I can't see the blacks in your black and white. I think, well, don't care. No, not really interested.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I didn't say that. It was far more polite than that. But but it doesn't bother me that much.
No. I've said this a million times. It would be a boring world if we were all the same.
Yeah.
So, and it is very subjective. It's just some people are very unsubjective with their rude replies to things.
Yes, that's true. The only black and white I don't really enjoy is when it's what I call a salad of grey, which is there doesn't seem to be any contrast or any bite to it.
Yeah, I think to answer that question, it's if you're not happy with your black and whites, then obviously you need to work on them and figure them out. But that doesn't mean they have to be exactly the same as everybody else's. And often I find with black and white, at least, especially with black and white, that you have to take more consideration of light. So a black and white image where there is a clear and concise difference between the lights, the highlights and the shadows will look better regardless of how you edit it. A black and white image that, if you're in shade, for example, there's no kind of directional light and it's a portrait of somebody under a tree, then that probably won't look very good in black and white regardless. Stand them outside or half in the shade, half in the light, meter accordingly, and then you're going to get some contrast, you're going to get some good dynamic range in the image, and the black and white will look better as a black and white because there is shadow and highlight in there, and that's the whole thing about black and white. So it could well be the subjects that you're shooting, how you're shooting, etc. Think about the light, and also I think with black and white you can get away with a lot more with contrast and clarity and push it, make it pop a little bit.
More latitude.
There's a lot more latitude with it. There's a great preset in Lightroom, it's been there since version 1, called Punch, and it just adds a little bit of contrast and clarity, and that gets applied to all my black and whites, and it just lifts it up very slightly, pretty subtly.
It's always the pop. It's all about the pop.
Punch.
All about the punch. Your question.
Marcus Cohen. Great show, really enjoying the content. Thank you. My question is, how can I get my first wedding shoot? I'm virtually ready to go. I have the camera, X-T3 and X100S. My MacBook is about to arrive. My website is under construction. And most importantly, I have been taking pictures for years. I'm 48, but it's never too late to start. Have you got any tips that can help me get the first gig, please? How did you get your first wedding, Neil?
It was a freebie.
Yeah.
So it was a friend of mine. Well, I've told this story many times, I think, of my best man that said, my brother's getting married. Can you do his wedding? And I said, no, not in your life.
Yeah.
I don't want to be at somebody else's bloody wedding every Saturday was literally the words that fell out of my mouth.
Yeah.
After that, though, I don't know. I mean, the first paying gig, I think I went very old-fashioned in terms of advertising, and I stuck something in a wedding magazine. I think that's the way, and it was it would have been very much along the lines of I'll come and shoot your wedding for practically free kind of advert. Can't remember the words.
Yeah,
that's how I got my first few gigs.
Yeah. In
terms of portraiture, the first I'll tell you what I did. The first thing I did was go to all the rich neighbourhoods. I made up some really nice, classy looking cards. A5 cards with some examples of some shoots I'd done with friends, and I put those cards. I must have gone around thousands and thousands of houses in posh areas, and put cards in letterboxes, and that kick-started my portrait business.
Good idea. But I think the answer, Marcus, is
legwork.
free is often. I mean, my first one was free also, my first wedding. So yeah, think about. You're 48, right? So which is not you, Neil, but Marcus.
I wish I was.
But that's you're right. It's never too late to start something new.
No.
Absolutely,
No.
go for it. Get out there, do it. You know, be brave, be bold, and be successful. But you will be probably at the age where most of your friends will probably already be married and settled and stuff. So you're going to, get the word out, speak to them, friends of friends. Some of them may have children that are getting married by that point, or certainly have friends of theirs that might get married. Do not be afraid to go lowball right at the beginning. But if you are offering something for free or really, really cheap, make sure it's on your terms and make sure it's somebody that you have a connection with, i.e. a friend of a friend or something. Don't, I would never just put an advert on Facebook or something and say, I'm looking to get started, free wedding, and then just take a complete stranger, because that will just lead you to fall out of love with the industry in an instant. Make sure it's something you've got a connection. Because if it's totally free and that's what people are looking for in terms of price point, then it's never going to be a particularly great wedding. I'm not saying never, but it's unlikely to be a particularly great wedding.
Well, there is that phrase, and people, the ones that I constantly hear, the ones that spend the least often cause the most trouble.
Yeah, I think that's true. And again, I'm not casting the net wide and far, but it's the people that take their coffees back at Starbucks to complain it's cold are usually the ones that have drunk 3/4 of it first. So you kind of you might end up falling into that trap. So just if you are doing it, all I'm saying is if you're doing it for free or you're doing it really, really cheaply, then make sure there's a connection, because that way you'll have some kind of association with it. But to help you out, Marcus, I am going to send you a strap to go with your XT3, your X100S, your MacBook, your new website, and now you can have a new simpler strap as well. Well done.
I'm being all smug because I thought I was going to be the first one in there with a strap this week, and I thought he's forgotten, I'll get in there, because my strap is going to this guy, Tommy Martikainen, from, is it Tampere, I think, in Finland. Now, a little dance joy, because I don't think we have many listeners in Finland, so welcome aboard, Tommy.
What was that you just did?
It's my little dance of joy with my fingers. So it looked a bit dark. Hello, Neil and Kevin. First of all, I wanted to thank you guys for creating this podcast. One of the best days within a week when a new episode comes out. Keep up the good work. We will try. Have a lovely week. We'll have a go at that too. I have a question for you two. What's the most important? I like that. The reason this is coming from a totally different angle, and you'll understand it when I say, what's the most important thing for you in photography? Have you also treated your mental health with photography? Now, that might not be coming across quite the way you're reading it or hearing it, or I'm reading it, but I think I know what he means. Because I don't believe I have any issues in that department. I hope I don't, and due respect to those that do struggle with it. But in terms of how I feel when I shoot a wedding, I have to say that if I have my heart monitor on the watch, my heart really slows down. I find it one of the most quiet experiences, even though there might be 150 people around me. It's almost like I feel like I'm drifting through the crowd looking for pictures rather than running backwards and forwards like a Jack Russell.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I think that's what Tommy means.
Yeah,
I think making pictures for me is and editing is actually one of the calmest things I can find.
I'd like to refer Tommy to a friend of mine called Paul Sanders, who is another Fujifilm X-photographer.
He's a brilliant photographer.
Amazing. He used to be the Times picture editor, in fact. Yeah. And I know that he's struggled in the past with issues like this, and he's basically built his photography around mindfulness. Oh. So, and you can see it in his pictures. They're beautiful pictures. They're mostly landscapes, but he'll take himself off to the Lake District or whatever. And
did he do that because of issues with mental health?
I know. I mean, he was always, ever since I've known him, he's been a great photographer, and Light and Land, there you go, Light and Land.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. Looking it up now.
And he's really.
Oh, look at these pictures.
He's a really nice guy. He's got a really, really good kind of attitude to life and to photography, and he connects the dots. He connects the fact that photography should be about enjoyment and should be about getting rewards from it, and he's not a wedding photographer. He's not really a person photographer, but he will. I always imagine he's like a fisherman of photography. So he'll sit on the side of a river and wait for 6 hours.
Look at this
get a
Venice picture. Look at that.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Wow.
So Paul Sanders is, I mean, the reason why I'm deferring to him is because I really, thankfully, I suppose, don't have any experience in that area. But Paul will, and even if you just look at his pictures and it makes you smile, then that's a good thing, right?
Well, he does go on, Tommy, to write, it used to help me a lot, might even save my life. Back in the day when I was well overloaded with work and other things in life that really kicked me in the face, I'm happy to say I found this form of art, and thankfully now I even get paid for doing it. So, yeah. And it's got me thinking, Paul Sanders, we should get him on the show.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you go to lightandland.co.uk, have a look at his website. I haven't looked for such a long time. And my loss, I think. Look at this. Amazing work. Anyway, your question. Last one, I think.
Yes.
Oh, no, we haven't done... I tell you what, we haven't. We'll have to do it next week. I said it was a return of doing the reviews, the self-indulgent moment, and we had some funny ones sent in. We'll do that next week. So you do another question, then that's it.
Okay. Right. Okay. This is from Samuel Meggs. Doesn't say. Oh, Canada. Prince Edward County, Canada. Great
Nice.
Podcast. Love listening while driving. Great way to make a long trip fly by. I'm going to read out all of these things now because I've gotten so much trouble for not reading them out.
People have really sort of.
Yada 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 yada. My question is for both of you: what is your favourite moment to capture at a wedding beyond the kind of standard moments? Is there a moment at every wedding you really want to make sure you can capture above others? As an example, I love to capture the second dance with a couple. By then, a lot of hoopla and attention. Hoopla, that's such a nice word. Hoopla. I like the word twine as well. I really like the word twine.
It's like an ASMR show.
Yeah, hoopla and twine. Imagine hoopla and twine together.
Twine.
Twine. And attention. Sorry, Sam. We'll get back to you in a second.
We're with you.
By then, a lot of the hoopla and attention is gone, and it seems like a moment that is just genuinely them, where they get to take a breath and take each other in. That's a good question, isn't it? What is your favourite type of picture to get at a wedding? What do you kind of love?
I'm a soft old sausage. I really like the exchange between fathers and daughters. I like the hug-a-thon part of the day. That for me is
bread and butter.
That's bread and butter day. Yeah, but that's bread and butter, so it doesn't sound like it should be special, but it is.
That's mine. Yeah.
Without that hug-a-thon. And that's why it's sometimes if you get a vicar or a priest or whatever that says you can't come in the church, and I think, oh no, I'm missing all these amazing, incredible sort of these emotive moments where they're looking at each other and thinking, we've only gone and done it.
Yeah.
How
much is this costing us?
Well, hopefully they're not thinking like that. What about you?
Well, I like I like it when the bride and groom see each other for the first time on the wedding day, or touch each other. And now this manifests slightly different in the UK than it does in somewhere like the United States, where they have that first look thing. So
I wonder what you meant by touching each other. Warning. I thought, oh my God,
they get to
go to those kind of gigs.
They get to see each other in the morning before the wedding, which to me seems a bit odd, but that's
it's American way of doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I like it is when the groom doesn't look up the aisle when the bride's walking down the aisle. I like that, and I kind of when the registrar says you should look up the aisle now, I'm like, no, don't. Wait until she gets to the front, then turn around right at the last minute, and that's when they first that eye contact. So the importance is getting the timing right. So when the eye contact is between the two of them, because that is the first time they've seen each other on their wedding day. And then if that doesn't come about, the first time that they will always, they'll just touch their little fingers, or there'll be a little kind of connection at the front of the aisle, or the front of the altar, at the front of the wherever they get married. And that's the first time on their wedding day that they have connected, touched each other, And that to me, that moment they touch each other, that's the spark. That is the start of their forever. That time they touch each other, because that's the first time they're connected on the wedding day physically. And I think that's a really precious moment.
I think people very much underestimate if you're not a wedding shooter. And I know this is often quite wedding centric, but the privilege you receive as a human being of being at somebody else's event like this. I always remember making a picture of a bride who had told her father to read a reading, and her father had told her and I've got this picture in my portfolio. The father had said the night before the wedding at the rehearsal dinner, he said, "I'm not going to read that reading that you gave me tomorrow." She said, "Right, okay, I'm going to read you something I wrote." And so it comes to the day, and he starts to read this reading, and I'm looking over his shoulder. I'm looking directly at the bride, who I think at pretty much the same moment as I realised, although her expression is $1 billion, when she realises that what he's reading is actually a letter that he wrote to her on the day she was born. I mean, they're special moments and privileged moments, and moments that actually only we in the Vicar get to see. You're yawning.
I know. Well, actually,
it's my story.
We have heard that before as well.
Oh God! All right, I'm going to move on then. Oh, it's just like being married. It really is, without the conjugal rights. Thank you very much this week for your attention. By the way, the Facebook group, which is now open, is going to be probably the best place. Is it one of the best places, along with the website, to announce our competition winners?
Oh, we'll do it in both places still.
So,
yeah. Although I'm not putting the strap winners on the website, by the way.
Are you not?
No, because there's just too many of them. But any competition winners will be on the website and on the Facebook group, yeah.
So, if you've liked this week's show, I'm going to ask you something extra this week. Can you help us by doing something that's going to go a long way to getting the FujiCast out there? And I know it's been very, very good and very well supported, and we thank you very much for it. But we'd like to build the community, the audience, and not just for Fujifilm people as well. We'd like to invest more time in recording interviews. We'd like to take the show on the road, doing that in Brighton, all that kind of stuff. So if you leave a review, you're a star. If you can share in any way...
Preferably 5 stars.
Yeah. If you can share in any way, yes, 5 stars, say through a Facebook group you're a member of, Twitter or whatever, you are a complete legend. Takes a couple of seconds, but we really would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Music from Blue Wednesday. Big love to our friends at Simpler, simplr.us. Simpler straps are letting us give away another camera strap each to our favourite email questions of the week. Payoff. We still haven't done it, have we? We still got Rosa.
Last night I got the little microphone, took it to the house and didn't do it.
Oh, God. Here's Rosa then.
My dad's Instagram is Kevin Mullins Photography. See his films on YouTube at Documentary Eye. His website is kevinmullinsphotography.co.uk. Or for street workshops, training and everything Fujifilm, go to f16.click.
I almost got Dennis Bertie to do our payoffs because he has such an amazing voice. But it's going to be Thomas for me.
My dad's Instagram is Neil James. See his films on YouTube at Neil James Photo. His website is neiljames.com for pictures and one-to-one mentoring. And you can hear his other photography podcast, which is called Breathe Pictures, wherever you get your podcasts. Oh, and don't forget his name is spelled Neale.
Okay, thank you very much this week. We will be back with you on the podcast next week. See ya.
Bye-bye.